Today we're going to talk about the power of priming the pump. Imagine that you had this huge land, and underneath this land is an aquifer, a huge aquifer, a reservoir that is full of water. You decided one day you're going to drill a well. So you drill this well, and you extend down the pipes down to the aquifer, and you have everything connected. You put one of those nice old-fashioned pumps on top of it, and you're ready to get water. But before you could get water, you have to do something to that pump. You have to prime the pump. You have to pour some water in the top of it, and you have to crank that handle. Pour some water in the top of it, and you have to crank that handle some more. And as you crank that handle, you're priming the pump, and by priming the pump, it allows water to flow. It allows potential to flow. It allows grace to flow. It allows that which was deeply recessed within you to flow out of you. You see, a lot of times what people don't realize, true and undeniable success has to flow from the inside out. When things flow from the outside in, then it's toxic. When things flow from the outside in, then it becomes more of a ceremonial thing instead of a relationship. When things flow from the inside out, it's full of love, it's full of grace, it's full of compassion. It's full of charity. So you want everything, including your potential, to flow from the inside out. You might ask, how do I prime the pump? You cannot go to be a bodybuilder and work out for a year, and then all of a sudden you look like some of the people you look at on your Instagram, all those different things that you look at and you're like, wow, but you can't do that. It happens over time. What it is, it's going and developing a discipline and going to the gym day in, day out, and practicing and lifting weights and eating right and sleeping right. And over time, as they prime that pump, the results that you see is what happens. So it's the same way in everything. If you want to be a good student, you have to prime that pump. You have to practice those math problems. You have to read. You have to understand the fundamentals. Go back to my video on the power of fundamentals and you'll see what I'm saying. A lot of times what people want to do, a lot of times people want to grow in life, but they don't realize in order to grow, you have to have the right foundations. The fundamentals has to be right. If you understand the fundamentals and you grow on those fundamentals, and as you grow on those fundamentals every day, you're priming the pump. You see, if you want to be a good math student, if you understand the formulas, if you take them apart and you understand the principles and you practice, then you'll get better and better and better at what you're doing. You're priming the pump. If you want to create an intimate relationship with your creator, then you open up the good book and you read. But not only read the good book, but you allow it to transform you. You allow it to flow from the inside out. You allow it to be acted out in your life. You allow your life to be a doer of what you're reading. And as you become a doer of what you're reading and allow it to transform you, that's what it means by when you're priming the pump. Whenever you prime that pump causes you to grow. And as you grow, then you grow into a better person. Then the characteristics of your creator starts to be evident in your life. A lot of people smell like skunks because they don't have that characteristics in their lives. And when you have that characteristic in your life, then you could love people, you could care for people, you could share with people, you could go out there and genuinely love on people. So you got to learn to prime the pump. A lot of times what happens, people will look at an addict or look at some other people and they say, well, you know what? They get a lot of advice, and as others share advice with them, they don't learn how to prime the pump in their lives. And because they don't learn how to prime the pump in their lives, their desires outweighs what they really need in life. When your desire is greater than what you're hearing, it mirage or it stops or it blocks what you're hearing. What you're hearing it through the lens of your desires. And as you hear something through the lens of your desires, it prevents you from seeing reason. It prevents you from seeing fact. It prevents you from seeing the things that you're not seeing, because your judgment is clouded, because your desires are overweighing the wise counsel that you're getting. The desires are overweighing what people are sharing with you and what your creator is sharing with you and what you're learning. And as a result of that, you're so tied up in your desires that you end up making the wrong decisions. You're so tied up in your desires that instead of priming the pump and working out and eating right and sleeping and doing all the things that you do, you end up using things like steroids and all of those things to get a shortcut to get where you're going. But then it's shortly lived. You know, just like Proverbs say, anything that's hastily gotten is easily lost. You always want to make sure you're priming the pump and you're building on those fundamentals. And as you build on those fundamentals are what hold you up. Too many times what happens when people don't succeed in life is because their foundations are weak. Their foundations are wimpy. Their foundations in business are wimpy. Their financial IQ is wimpy. Their emotional EQ is wimpy, because they don't prime the pump. They don't build their emotions. They don't wash their minds of stinky thinking. They don't read. They don't sit down and participate in the right thing. You see, garbage in, garbage out. Whatever is in your well will always come up in the bucket. Whatever is in your well will always come up in the bucket. If there's salty water in your well, salty water is going to come up in that bucket when you prime it. If there's clean water in your well, that clean water is going to flow out of you. That clean water is what's going to nourish what's around you. So you see, what you put in and what is in that well will eventually come up out of that well. So you want to invest time and invest your money and invest your resources in making sure that you understand things. Invest your resources and in making sure that you're heading in the right direction. You see, a lot of times people look at me. And a lot of things, people, unless you're very close to me, you don't know this, is that I spend at least 2 to 3 hours every day reading. One of my favorite apps is Audible. A lot of times when you don't see me on the phone talking to somebody and you see my headphones in my ear, when I'm walking or what, I'm listening to a book. I like reading. I spend time reading. I spend time honing my craft. I spend time learning. I spend time researching. If I have a rule that if somebody shares something with me and I don't know what it is, I research it. I look it up. You'll never mention something to me and I don't jump on Google it and learn about it. Even when I'm tutoring, I teach my students and the people I tutor the same thing as well. You know, whenever they read a word and they don't know the definition of the word, every last one of them have to load the dictionary app on their phones. And the first thing they do, they jump to their dictionary app and they look up the definition of the word. They look up what it means, how to use it. Because you see, the fundamental fact is, in order to learn, in order to grow, you have to learn to prime that pump. A lot of times what we want in life, we want success and we want to go around and we want to say, I have arrived. But you see, you have to be a lifelong learner. So as you prime that pump, you keep priming that pump, you're going from one level to the next. But you'll never have arrived. You're always growing. You're always learning. You're always priming that pump. And as you prime that pump, you get better and better and better. But as you get better, your desire to help others increase even more. You'll always find that the truly successful will always make you feel that you too can be truly successful. The truly successful will always reach down and give you a helping hand. The truly successful will always say, come up here. Don't ever go down to anyone's level. Always, whether you are in a conversation or you're doing something, always bring people up. If you make a statement and they don't understand or they don't comprehend what you're saying, break it down so that they could understand. One thing you always find is the truly intelligent, the truly smartest person, or the truest person who understand what they're doing is able to explain the most complex of issues to a child. Learn to be able to explain the most complex of thought, the most complex of process that you know to the smallest of child. And if you could do that, you could teach anybody. If you're a cook, learn to cook with a passion. Learn to share your ideas with others. If you're a teacher, learn to break it down and quantify it and share it in different ways to anybody who asks you for an explanation. If you're a banker, learn to impart your knowledge in banking to your customers. If you're in customer relations, learn to understand and communicate effectively with others. Prime that pump, people. As you prime that pump every single day by priming that pump, as you prime that pump, that living water will flow out of you. Ideas, creative solutions, problem-solving skills will flow out of you. And if you truly help as many people get what they want, you will always get what you want. So if you find you're not getting what you want in your life, learn to get back to the fundamentals and learn to prime that pump. Have an awesome growth day. Don't forget, hit the subscribe button below. Hit the subscribe button below. And when you hit the subscribe button, don't forget to select the bell. Because by selecting the bell, it gives you a wonderful opportunity to be notified whenever I add a new video. God bless you.